where people talk about they want their dream home and they've always thought about getting their dream home, but there is some reason that they don't feel like they can have it. And so I think number one, I think it's really interesting, and you just kind of alluded to it with what you just said, is that many people they don't even allow themselves to think about, well, what are the things I would want as far as my home? What would it have? Would it have an abundance of windows? Would it be on the water? Would it have a pool? What are the things that would make it be, as you just said, a perfect home?
Welcome to the Jennifer J. Hammond Podcast. Jennifer is a licensed realtor, educator, speaker, and best-selling author. Jennifer's goal is to help you find your yay in every day.
Hello. This is Jennifer J. Hammond. I'm so excited. As you know, I love to find ways to inspire you, to educate you, and hopefully to empower you to make great decisions in your life. And of course, good decisions regarding real estate. So my next guest today is Willette. And I'm so excited because she is someone who is going to help you find your dream home. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. It's great to be here.
I am so happy to have you. So now I've given them a big promise. You're going to help them find their dream home.
I will do my best to live up to it. We're talking about visualization, Jennifer. We're talking about being able to see our perfect home in our minds and then make it come to life, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And this is something where people talk about they want their dream home and they've always thought about getting their dream home, but there is some reason that they don't feel like they can have it. And so I think number one, I think it's really interesting, and you just kind of alluded to it with what you just said, is that so often I don't think not anybody, but many people they don't even allow themselves to think about, well, what are the things I would want if I could have anything as far as my home? What would it have? Would it have an abundance of windows? Would it be on the water? Would it have a pool? Would it have a jacuzzi? Would it have a massive kitchen? What are the things that would make it be, as you just said, a perfect home? What makes it a perfect home? How would you help people create this visualization of their perfect home?
The first thing that I would tell anybody who was getting into this extremely big part of their life, right? This is a big decision to make, is to try to recall how they felt as a small child when they had this imagination that allowed them to see the impossible, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to make the impossible possible. And so I tell my clients and the people that come to me wanting to do this, I say, you know what, you have to know who you are going into, especially a real estate purchase. Our home that's our spot, right? We're the most comfortable. We're the safest. We are the most us in our home environment. And our home should mirror that. It should mirror that. And we have the right to have the things that make us feel that zen in our space, right? And so I teach my clients from the very first step to start visualizing what it is they want. And we start as small as a throw pillow, but being able to see it in your mind's eye and really be able to understand what it does for you. Like you said, does it have an outdoor space? Does it have, it goes way beyond, I need 4 bedrooms because of the size of my family. It's so beyond that. And it's really easy to do. It's not difficult to see what you want and go for it.
And I think that first step in that visualization is really realizing that you have a beautiful imagination. I've had so many people invalidate themselves and say, I don't have a good imagination, so I couldn't do anything like that. And it's so funny because even as a real estate agent, I'll sit down with people with my pen and I'll say, so let's talk about the outdoor space. You said you wanted some outdoor space. Would you describe it? What does that mean to you? What is outdoor space? Is it a front yard? Is it a backyard? Is it like, if you're thinking of a condo, is it just having a little balcony? Mm-hmm. And again, what does that look like? Is it because I think it's hilarious especially when I talk to a couple, you'll find that the husband versus the wife often have very different viewpoints on what is a great, big outdoor. Because the husband looks at it, and if he's thinking, well, I got to mow all that grass, then he doesn't want a big big yard unless
true.
it's made of pebbles or something. So it's interesting to see the different viewpoints and what people will visualize, especially when, again, and I think I'd be happy to hear your advice on when two people are trying to, I want to be funny and say smash their visualizations together, because now they're trying to figure out, how do we get a dream house that's really a dream house for both of us and not just for one of us?
I'll tell you what, this is the best practice ever, and it will work brilliantly. Each of them should be writing down the top 5 things they want in their perfect home based on who they are, not the couple, not the team, not the partnership. For them, what are the top 5 most important things that they want? And then they need to sit down with a side-by-side and determine what top 3 on both lists can we hit. It may not be the actual top 3, but if we can get 3 out of the 5 from both lists, that is compromise, that is flexibility, and everybody comes out loving the home that they move into.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's really, really important. And then again, as you kind of alluded to before, is really kind of getting down into what does that mean? So you say, I want a big kitchen. Well, what does that mean? Does it mean that you have a lot of space for people to be in your kitchen with you? Or does it mean that your big kitchen has tons and tons of cabinets to put away all your kitchen gadgets?
Right.
And your dishes and such? It's different definitions of a big kitchen.
It absolutely is. And it is very much an individualized vision, right? The baker would want counter space, whereas the person that wants all the kids in there cooking with them, less counter space, more foot space, both of them big kitchens. It's very individualized. Take the time to stop and think about, what does your home look like in actuality? You're in it, you're living it, you're walking through it. What does it talk to you about? What does it share with you? It's important to do.
It's so important. And I think the thing is that so often we overlook what is important to us, or we're not willing to actually say it and communicate out what is important to us, because at some point we haven't felt like it was going to be accepted well.
Right. We don't allow ourselves to make those decisions, right? We're making this huge purchase. We have to put a roof over the head of whoever's going to be in the home. It is, part of the American dream to move forward in your life and own a home. It's a thing, right? And it has become something that is so automatic in so many lives that they stop and don't allow themselves to see it as the adventure that it is. And allowing yourself to be creative in the process and understanding what it is that you love and want in your home, and really wanting that, and then being okay, validating that that's okay to want it to be exactly what you want it to be.
Right.
But they also have to remember to be in reality and a little flexible, that what we envision isn't always necessarily what we get, but we will definitely get a version of it.
Yeah. And that's, it's so funny because you talk about in your 5 steps, one of the steps you talk about creating constant reminders of what you desire. So like, if we translated that for somebody who was looking for their dream home, and I love it because it's the seeing, the touching, the feeling. So you're bringing in your emotions in that. Can you go and give us some examples for that?
Absolutely. And you're right. The senses are the validation piece. When we make something real in touch, in smell, in sight, it becomes more and more real. And so the very first practice that I teach in my book is about visualization. And we always use the home. That is our first practice, because that's where we feel safe. That's where we want to create the best version of ourselves. And so I will tell folks, go online or go to a furniture store and pick the fabric or the couch that you really want, that you see in the color you want. And you can see it if you close your eyes sitting in your perfect room. Now buy a swatch of that material or a throw pillow that has that material on it, and put it on your current sofa. Lay it on the arm of your sofa if it's a swatch, and touch it every day. Look at it, pick it up, feel it, play with it, lean your head on the pillow. Is it something you love? Decide then if you love it. If you don't, swap it out for something else. Go online and look at the home styles that you like, and pick those that really speak to you in a place of comfort. Okay, that makes me feel warm and at home, and I love the way that home looks. And print that out and hang it on your wall, on your fridge, on the mirror in the bathroom, and remind yourself on a daily basis what comfort looks like to you. The more you do that, the more you're going to achieve that level of comfort in your life, even if it doesn't look exactly like the picture, or it's not the exact color of the throw pillow on the couch. You achieve that level of comfort and connection to the home before you even buy it.
And you might even change your mind. I think it's interesting because I have done similar things with, especially like with fabric or even with a paint, thing, color, and then been like, oh no, I'm so glad we waited on that.
Right? And that's okay too. We have to allow ourselves to be flexible in it. Because we don't have it yet, right? We're still in the visualization process. This is new. We haven't purchased the home. We haven't bought the couch. We haven't picked our flooring. And so we have to allow ourselves to test and try and look at new things and be flexible and change our minds, because at the end of the day, it is your Zen space. It is your space. It recharges you. It has to recharge you. You need that. It should be a representation of those things that give you the power in your life. It absolutely should be.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you're talking about bringing the senses in there and recognizing when it is, like you said, making you feel powerful and successful, and when it doesn't. And so I'm curious also when it doesn't, and you're feeling the negative feelings, because every one of us has had those negative thoughts come in and invalidate us. And you're like, hey, even when you catch them, they're like, wait a minute, what just happened there? There was some negativity that was in there. Mm-hmm. So what would you say to people as far as how to get rid of that when they're looking at their dream house and trying to visualize their perfect dream house?
That's such a great question, Jennifer, because that is the majority of people. I mean, really, we are pre-programmed to think negatively. We are pre-programmed to have these automatic reactions that we really don't think about. And oftentimes they put us in that space where, well, I don't have that home, or I won't have that couch, and just feeling bad about it, or what I have is not good enough. And What I tell folks is this is a phase. It's just like when you have small children and they get to that age where they're into everything, and you have to sit back as a parent and say, it's just a phase. It will pass. So will your current situation. It will pass. Everything in life is a phase. You are here right now, and you may not like the look of your room. You may not like the couch you have in your space. The more you visualize it and put yourself in a positive thought process of envisioning what it is that you want, the more you are lifting that vibration to actually create that, whether it's making more money or whether it's just being, more productive in looking for the deal, whatever it is. But it raises that vibration, and it changes that auto response from a negative to a positive. And it can change our attitude on a dime. But we have to be able to stop in those moments and say, I don't love the look of my room right now, but it is a phase. It will pass. So I'm going to stop thinking about that, and I'm going to take a few minutes and get online and remember what it is that I truly want. What's my next phase look like? And just keep pushing that next.
And I'm curious on whether, because I've thought about this sometimes when someone is in a home and they're like, this is not my dream home. I'm not happy in this home. But also it always reminds me of that Beatles song, Love the One You're With. It's sometimes also finding something about your home or something about where you are right now that you do love, and being able to admire that, because again, then you change that feeling of ickiness to at least a happiness of, oh, I like that part of my house, right?
Mm-hmm. You know what? I'll give you a little personal story here, because this is a situation that I was in, 25 years ago when I was building all of this. And I purchased a house to raise my kids in, and it was a horrible house. I didn't like the house. It was affordable. It solved the problem for what I needed, but I knew going in that it wasn't my dream home, and that was okay with me. I was okay to let it be my first step. I knew that it was just a phase, but I didn't want to not be comfortable or have that recharging space, that Zen feeling, that comfort in my home. So I made sure that in every room of my home, I had some kind of a reminder of what
Oh,
gives me comfort. My
yeah.
bedroom, I had a large sitting space where I could just sit, I could listen to music, I could read a book, and that was my go-to space. The rest of the house belonged to teenagers. They were not go-to spaces, but there was a knickknack or a photograph or a piece of decor in every single room that reminded me of what the next step is going to look like. And that gave me comfort in a home that wasn't my perfect home. And I was in that home for 10 years. I sold it, purchased my next home, which was decidedly the next level in the home that I wanted. You're not locked in for 30 years. That's another piece we need to remember. It's not a life. You're not making a lifetime commitment. You're filling a need right now, but it will change. It will morph, and allow yourself to be more and more creative with every switch of it. The sky's the limit. You can have anything you want.
Right. I think that's such a beautiful, there's so many things out of that I just want to talk about, but one of them is just a beautiful thing is you're not in prison, you're not stuck. This isn't a lifetime commitment. And I think that that's why I brought up the love the one you're with thing of, even if you're in a house that you don't love right now, start looking around because there probably are little things about it that you do really like,
Right.
even though it wasn't ideal.
And you need to know what those are.
Yeah.
If you're going to really visualize your perfect home, look at the home you're in. Start where you're at and find those things that you love about where you live, and write them down. Make a list of, I love this about my current, I live in an apartment currently. This is what I love about this room. And you start making a list, and you will have a better idea of what to be looking for when you get to that point where you're ready to make that purchase.
Exactly.
It's easy. It's easy.
Yeah.
The same thing when you go to a friend's house. We're always invited to dinner. What about their houses do you love?
Right.
What makes you feel comfortable when you sink into that chair in their den? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Put it on your list. It doesn't have to just be you. It can be, you can find these images and these textures all around you. Take advantage.
And I know another thing you talk about in your book is also gratitude and living in gratitude and really being thankful. And I think that that's kind of comes right off that love the one you're with, and the fact that really appreciating whatever it is that you do have, as well as the amazing things that you've experienced, the friends that you have, finding things that you're grateful for, because music you're grateful for, that can completely change your day.
Yes. I'm thankful in my home every day for my flooring. I know that's ridiculous, right?
I love it.
I love the way it feels on my bare feet when I come out to make my coffee in the morning. And I remind myself to think of it that way. That because I'm also, much like a lot of your listeners probably, I'm in that transition. I sold my home and I'm living in an apartment, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm looking for whatever that next level is. My kids are now grown. It's just me. What does that look like for me? Well, this flooring's going in. I can tell you that right now because I love it here, and then I'm grateful for it. A lot of things I'm not grateful for, so I don't even focus on those.
Right.
I don't focus on those at all. I focus on the little things that I love, and I remind myself that I love them every day.
It's funny that you say that about the flooring, because I have a rug that I love because it's so, so soft. And I have it so that every time I get out of bed, it's the first softness that I feel when I get out of bed. And I absolutely love it. I'm like, this rug is going with me forever.
And what a great way to start your day. You immediately start in a place of joy and happiness and comfort and gratitude the second your feet hit the floor. Exactly. What a great way to start your day.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Well, as you know, I love to help people celebrate with their, anything they're grateful for with yay. So we're going to end with a yay today, but before we do that, I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you and find out more about your book and website, social media, anything you'd like to share.
The easiest way to find me is to go to balanceyourpath.com. And it's just spelled as it sounds, balanceyourpath.com. You will find links to all of my social media. All of my books on Amazon will be there. This podcast at some point will show up there, so you can revisit it there as well as here with Jennifer. But yeah, come by and check out the website. You will find everything. You can contact me directly if you have questions or concerns or anything that you want me to help you with. I'm the one that answers.